Well, so let's do traffic, and we have to look at the current state of traffic.
I thought you said good morning to me first.
Yeah, good morning. How are you?
I'm well. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good.
Well, Kojan Singh is not well. He
Yeah.
hasn't been well,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
you know, I'll say a prayer. And
I love what you
like
say,
that.
Yao. Hey, I'm in America for it.
Give us the traffic.
Yeah, so we have to bring you the latest traffic watch. This is the best portal for you, traffic.com.ga for the rest of the day. And sometimes you may witness some gridlocks coming to the city. It's a Thursday, and we know that it's just a day to the main Easter holiday. So many of you will be trying to rush getting through the capital. Let's start with the Ring Road Central area, and well, the gridlock has not started yet, but it looks to be flowing quite well, so you can use it. It will be a bit slow, but it will be better ultimately. The traffic light is just giving you those indications when to stop and what you have to do. Now let's go to the Tema end of the Accra-Tema motorway. If it refreshes, you get to know the current state. Usually it's always characterized with a lot of traffic, but it looks to be free, and we know that areas in the Volta region, the rest in the eastern, etc., they tend to celebrate a lot of Easter. And so for those who come from those communities or those regions, they'll always be trying to make their way. And I'm sure the traffic could return before the close of the day. The rush are trying to get out of the capital, and it's free. So if you're coming from Dawenya, Pram, those areas, it looks like you can buy yourself some time, some 10-20 minutes before you move out of home. By that time, then you get to know that, well, you meet the traffic at that point. But let's go to the cameras overlooking the airport city area. This is overlooking the airport shell. Very free, very uncharacteristic of this site or this route early this morning. But we have a little gridlock, but it's moving before the roundabout. And these are the cars who will be coming from the Spinters Road, those who want to make those linkages to this route from the Polo Club area through Shashi, or maybe coming from the Spinters Road. You can use this route. It's moving. All these cars could be going either through 37 or through Airwalk or the Aviance area, just getting into Cantonment, Osu, etc. Now let's go to the Bema Camp Gifford Road, and again the main bypass from the Flower Ports route that would link the airport hills will be passing through here and connecting this main stretch, and this stretch will lead you to Elwak, will lead you to Bema Camp and the trade fair route into Labadi. And so if you're going to Teshi, etc., you're coming from the Spinters Road, and because of where you'll be going through, maybe the military area, you can decide either to use the inside or just get through the Flower Pot area, if that's where you're coming from, or East Legon, and then quickly you get on here. There's a bit of always some gridlock or some congestion heading towards the traffic light. This traffic light ultimately will lead you onto that stretch that will take you just on the frontages or just in front of Elwak Stadium, and then you get to the junction, get to 37 or Cantonment, wherever you want to go to. Now let's look at the last stretch. That will be Tetekwashi, and let's see whether we can refresh it and know. Okay, after refresh, it's free. This main route is from all these commuters are coming from Tema, so they may have been joining from the Accra-Tema motorway, and so they're coming from the Tema end, and they will just be getting onto the N1 stretch, the Jawulu Junction, and all these also will be coming from. We have before then Adenta, Mrahia, Pantine, Ayimensa, Ibri, and the route looks to be good this morning. This week has been very good for those who will be using the route into the capital. Prepare yourself for Easter. Have some nice feast within the period. What will you be doing Easter?
Just be home with the family.
Okay.
Yeah, just home. But I thought traffic would be massive. Look out for traffic today, because it's actually the day before the holiday. The afternoons are usually very busy.
But what date? Today is 18th?
Yes.
I'm sure people have spent their salaries. It also contributes to whether they buy. Yeah. Okay. You know, usually, I think over the last 2 years or 3, the Easter has been towards the end of the month in March. But this year,
so you think we're broke, eh?
I think, yeah, we're talking averages. If you look at the averages, what they usually are, you get to find that people either they have saved it, those, and by this time I'm sure they haven't. Yeah. So
okay. At least we have one person in the studio who's not broke. You can ask him for some money. His name is Jata. All right, let's do the newspapers now. And we've got, I will do the graphic, the business finder, the business tens. The Finder turns business on Thursday, so I'll do the Business Finder and the Daily Statesman.
And you know, today, what I told Elvis, he sent me a screenshot of the front page. I said today is an oil publication.
Yeah, it is.
Focusing on oil and gas.
Okay, so let's do the Daily Graphic newspaper. Front page of the graphic on this day. Government gives 64 vehicles to police. They've got close to 300 now. I think it's 260-something vehicles that they've received so far in 2 years since the president became president of Ghana. Fishmonger banished. She refused to pay fine imposed by Edina Traditional Council. It's a very fascinating story. I'll tell you about it. Use Easter to build country. Christian leaders urge Ghanaians. On the back page, AFDB supports SMEs in agri sector. Cashew farmers, dealers lament over low producer prices. Those are the two key stories on the back page of the Daily Graphic newspaper. There you go. And have you ever wondered a day in the life of Asante Hene? Well, it's in the center spread of the Daily Graphic newspaper. It's by Kwame Asari Bwedu and George Ernest Asari in Kumasi. You might want to check this out if you've been wondering how Otumfuo spends a typical day. Well, it's in pictures and it's in writing as well in the Daily Graphic newspaper. From morning to evening, every activity I undertake must be sanctioned by the Jassy. Yep. Okay. The Business Finder, front page of the Business Finder newspaper. You like it, huh? Yeah.
That's proper rule of law. Checks and balances.
Yep.
I love it.
Okay, front page of the Business Finder now. Oil and gas, Ghana best in SSA. In terms of governance, that's Ghana emerged the best sub-Saharan African performer in the oil and gas sector according to the Resource Governance Index published by the Natural Resource Governance Institute. Essentially, that's what the story is about. You can read on. It's on the front page of the Business Finder. Producer price inflation up to 6.7%. GNPC tops Africa in SOE governance. So Ghana being recognized in some major research, if you like, some studies there. Today's students are irrelevant to tomorrow's market. I've gone to page 5 of the Business Finder newspaper because I saw Mr. Ken Thompson, CEO of Dalex Finance, and I thought, let's check out what he's saying. So we'll bring you more in a bit on this headline. Today's students are irrelevant to tomorrow's market. So what are we doing, really? Let's finish off, at least for me, with the Daily Statesman newspaper. Here we go with what's on the front page. Chief of Staff unveils 480,000, I still get confused, euro-pound oxygen plans for 37 hospital. Kill your greed and envy, not Ghana. Presby moderator urges in pre-Easter message, Right Reverend Joseph Obri Yaboa Mante, moderator of the Presbyterian Church of Ghana. He says, kill your greed and envy, not Ghana. What a message for Easter. No active ingredient in agriculture's Litovit fertilizer. Witness in opening Agongo trial says. Okay, so there's a picture of former Cocoa Board Chief Executive Stephen Oponing, who's facing charges of causing financial loss to the states.
So can we do? Are we done?
Yes, sir.
All right, so let's do the Ghanaian Times. On the front page of the Ghanaian Times, we have these stories. The clergy's Easter messages to Ghanaians. And I'm sure that maybe the Ghanaian Times will not be coming out for publication tomorrow. So that's why. Let's coexist peacefully. Well, I'm just guessing. Don't really know. It's on page 16 of the Ghanaian Times. Other stories we have, or the other story we have, I should be more specific. Police impound 100 motorcycles for various offenses. I saw them on the road either Monday or or the, yeah, I think Monday. Let's go to the back page. Hearts aim to break Wafa invincibility. Morocco 2019, Ghana 2023. African Games teams to share ideas. Let's look at the Custodian newspaper. The Custodian newspaper has these stories. NDC fights EC over limited registration. There are pictures there of Johnson Esiedun Ketia, General Secretary of the NDC. Mrs. Jean Mensam, EC chairperson. And government to build 200,000 housing units annually. How? But good. It's a good initiative. Once we can afford it, if we can, that's where the problem lies. Ivory Coast destroys dangerous rice, Ghana rejected. Ivory Coast destroys dangerous rice, Ghana rejected. Okay. Police not off Cap 30 dairy assets, and we know that there's been some.
It's a bit conflicting, isn't it? Because you have the his other colleague, the employment minister, saying one thing, and then he also reinforcing it. He says the president has not made any decision, and he will not make any decision that will make you worse off when you retire as a police officer. Well,
one thing we do know, there was a policy intention to do this, but it looks like the upheaval
for everybody
in
to
the rest,
equally and fairly contribute
yeah.
towards the pension scheme as we have it.
Yes, that was a policy decision. Yeah. But the thing is that, you know, once you don't do it for the army, because the army would have been kept on the Cap 30.
The army is not a service.
Yeah, it is not. Yeah. But they are a security agency nonetheless.
The army is not a service.
Yeah, I know what justification we all can give, but ultimately they all play their rules as security agencies.
Even the army, well, we still can't even talk about it. Why are some people paying, contribute their own towards their own pension and others not? You know, why are others exempted? Yes, I'm talking about the security services and the forces.
Because there are some advantages if you're on Cap 30 compared to what you receive from SNIT. SNIT is paying paltry sums, and that's why the army will feel it's an
You know, the TUC has been on the case, and in one of the papers, I think this week, talking about an event that they organized on a certain Saturday and assuring people that we're not doing anything with your monies. We're trying our very best. But certainly, if you go on pension and you receive that from SNIT, sometimes you ask yourself, what have you been doing all these years?
Yeah.
I mean, you can't live on that.
What you and I will receive, I tell you, and the way SNIT is managed, we'll regret it if we don't have any alternative means of...
It's not enough for SNIT to be assuring us and saying that we're not misusing your monies. You know, we're doing our best. But that's not enough.
No, not enough. Yeah. Elsewhere, pension is, I mean, if you receive your pension, I mean, you'll be smiling all the way to your grave. Yeah. But we have other stories also. Seek private investment for infrastructure. Let's look at the Daily Dispatch newspaper. Has on the front page, last Sunday's floods, a survivor's story, how I lost my wife and only child. And Maxwell Agbagba had been following this for JoyNews as well. Focus on literacy and ICT in Ghana. You want to know all the numbers and the statistics as we have them in our country. The Daily Dispatch is the paper for you. Down, Meteo advice for 2019 rainy season is there. And the safety tips are, I'll tell you the safety tips soon, and that'll be the last thing we'll do. And it's a message from the Meteorological Authority, the Ghana Meteo Authority. Finance Minister's promise of Ekofodia interchange was a mistake, and that's according to a member of the Finance Committee chair, and subsequently also we've had some concerns being raised. How can this have been announced by the Finance Minister, and apparently we're being told by a leading member of the MPP that it was a mistake, you know, typo. Kofodia 4. Apparently, you're not going to get an interchange after all. Let's get to the last paper I have, the Daily Guide. Opuni fertilizer had no expiry date. JoyNews regrets Malaysia documentary. We have Easter break, they're telling us. Beside that, we have JoyNews Regrets Malaysia documentary story also on page 3. And then we also have court throws out ex-NIT boss. MPP regional elections May 18 and Yemeni defilement suspect on the run. Those are the stories we have on the back page of sports. Center spread is a news one pull out. And it says, this one, listen, I don't know why we took a picture of this one. It says, okay. It says, I'm in no competition with my show.
But it's already on the screen.
Che, I didn't know it would be. I'm not Che Boache. I just wanted to make sure.
I thought you had seen some,
no, it was not
some nice-looking babes in the center spread.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
I don't even know.
You and your eyes.
Oh, no. Tego Sisters to Shake Altar 2019. I believe that'll be it. The rest are not excited.
See? Yeah.
Center spread today. It's low. It's low on content. And it's one pull out. Says me. So we'll give you the tips as to what you need to do during the rainy season, but that will be the last one. So what do we have? What do you
this is the Business Finder. I thought what Mr. Ken Thompson has been saying is rather very interesting. So if you go to this is page 5, the Business Finder. If you go to the story itself, where he gives a quote, he says the skills needed to succeed in the future are different from those that provided success in the past. And to be relevant, you should be an autodidact. Okay, but you can read on. Let me read this one to you, which we all can relate. So there are some jobs apparently, and he's quoting from the World Economic Forum's Future of Jobs report 2018, which said, for instance, roles such as data analyst and scientist, artificial intelligence and machine learning specialists, software and application developers, big data specialists are emerging, whilst accounting, administrative and executive secretaries, assembly and factory workers, etc. are declining. Other emerging roles he cited were digital transformation and organizational development specialists. And so he's challenged tertiary students to adopt appropriately by making themselves relevant in today's job market. So essentially, if you're just learning the human resource, administration, management, all of those things, well, they say those are not the things that will be needed in the future. So you're learning because you've got the past in mind. You have to learn and face the future and be relevant. I don't know how this will resonate with you, but you might want to check the details out and see how you can adjust, especially if you're a very young person. I find it very interesting, by the way. Okay, there was a story also in the Daily Graphic newspaper. Yes, a fishmonger who's been banished. So there was a decision. She belongs to the local Fishmongers Association in the Central Region. And there was a decision that was taken, but she said she was absent at the meeting that took the decision. So she essentially flouted, if you like. And so she was fined. And then she refused to pay the fine. So they went to the traditional authority where she was fined. And then again, she refused to pay the fine, according to the story. And now she's been banished. So she's petitioned Shraj, the local Shraj. And they're taking a look at this this issue. It's rather very fascinating. You can check the details out. I mean, this is 2019, so you wouldn't think anybody could be banished, right? So she's been essentially banished from the fishing community. Details here in the Daily Graphic newspaper. Yeah.
And if you go to the Constitution, chapter 5, and you get to look at Article 12, 1, there's the whole section about how the fundamental rights and freedoms of the ordinary Ghanaian should be respected. At the same time, that same constitution also lends credence and gives the recognition to traditional authorities, especially in this current dispensation that we've played. And once the two need to coexist, it also needs to do that within the remit of how people's rights and their fundamental need to live based on what the remit of the Constitution dictates and says. I believe Shraj seemed to have a very good case in trying to put things right. as to how traditional authorities also need to exert that power that they've always had, and that how that can be exercised within the current freedoms and rights that have been granted the ordinary person, including even the person who is the traditional leader or the traditional authority going to exercise that. It's before Shraj. It doesn't mean that we can make some commentary on it. But I think that the lady is just trying to exert herself within the context of what the Constitution says. A fine has been imposed. She feels that maybe it's not right. She wants to challenge it, and I believe that she needs to go all the way and try to use this as a test case for all of us to get to know.
Well,
you know that there was once this case, I believe 2 or 3 years ago, in which somebody was made to come and apologize. I think either
yes, I
in the
remember
Eastern
that.
region or the Ashanti region, and the person was asked to kneel down. The person was a journalist and had been making reports that the traditional authority or the traditional head thought was not in the interests of free speaking, and also was an affront to the integrity and the respect of not only the person but also the stool. We can look at this in various contexts. Is she right? Is the traditional authority also overstepping its boundaries? It's a question that I believe we haven't, over the years, since 1992, been able to avert our minds to. It's an interesting case, I believe.
Yeah, this is an interesting one. So we're also looking at, you belong to a certain
And I wanted
grouping.
to add that if the person was a high standing person of integrity, so-called, and given that respect in our society, and the person flouted the regulation of the traditional authority, would that same person be taken through all this process? Let's say the person was somebody who is rich, contributes significantly to the society or the community, and has decided to stand on her own to say that I stand by my decision not to pay the fine. Would that person also be taken through all these? It's a question we have to ask.
And be punished this way.
Exactly.
Okay,
because
well,
this one is just a fishmonger. So if you look at the structure of the societal earnings and the respect, she's down the pecking order. Yeah.
Okay,
it's
so
very
the Commander Edina Abrem, Municipal Director of Shrash, Mr. Richmond Mensah, who gave details essentially to the Daily Graphic, says that they're due to hear the case on April 30, 2019. So we'll bring you the updates when we do have it. Roland, in the absence of anything that you're physically looking at in the newspapers, we can go to my line.
Yes, but before then, there's a Meteorological Authority advice.
Okay,
It's been going on. It says, in view of recently observed violent rainstorms, the outlook is that we should expect more heavy downpours with intense lightning. And so these are the safety tips. 1, don't use your mobile phone when it's raining. 2, switch off your TV set. 3, stay away from transformers and electronic objects. 4, stay away from mirrors and glass objects. 5, avoid taking baths, particularly under the showers when it's raining.
Oh, that's license for people to go the whole day probably without taking a shower.
Oh, well.
Very interesting tips. Don't use your phone when it is raining. Hey, Charlie.
Switch off the TV.
We have to hit
No
the streets with these tips. And see how many people will be willing to
But
do
I'm
this.
thinking if you're in an opaque or you're in your room, all the curtains and blinds are closed. I don't know.
So
and it's
essentially,
opaque.
when it's raining, sleep. That's all they're saying. Let's do myjoyonline.com. More women getting pregnant in their 30s than their 20s, but this is a specific case of England and Wales.
Yeah.
So
or the developed world.
A lot more. No, let's say developing democracies.
Developed democracy.
Yeah.
Not in our case.
No. Okay. So essentially, because more women are making time to school. To educate themselves, yes, build their careers. So before, and they give the statistics like in the 90s, they were doing within their 20s, but now women are getting pregnant in their 30s. It's interesting, you can read it as on myjoyonline.com. Let's move on real quick and finish off. St. Peter's Old Boys present awards to teachers. It's also another story on our page. New photos tell us what to expect from the next Game of Thrones episode. Those who are addicted to it, you can read this on myjoyonline.com. Return 6.5 million Ghana cedis ghost funds recovered in NSS Rot Pack to BNI. That's the Public Accounts Committee. Football and spiritualism is also a feature on our page. Does not settle on approved Bono Regional Minister, minority hence.
Yeah.
Spurs, oh my God, Spurs stun Man City on away goals in modern classic.
We always knew that this one, England was going to be difficult.
We're making prudent planning, not reckless expenditures. That's the NHIS boss, the acting CEO of the National Health Insurance. She's defending the scheme's move to make investments. There are more stories on myjoyonline.com. This one dead, 10 arrested in failed takeover of Kintampo waterfalls. Not again, I am thinking. Okay, more stories on our page, myjoyonline.com, including this one. This is absolutely heartbreaking. How I lost my wife, only child in flood accident. Yeah. A survivor's story. It will break your hearts.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So I decided to pull some things up in relation to the subject of pregnancies among and when women are getting married. And there was a survey that was done from 2007 to 2017 for Norway. And you know, Norway, very rich. They live averagely, but they are very well off. Women have had their marriageable ages. In 2007, it was 37.2 years for males, and then 33.7 for females. And then for 2017, it shot up to 35 averagely for females, and then 38 for, and they are taking some time even to their 40s currently. Yeah. This this year to give birth. Yeah. And so what they are doing is they are saving the eggs of they themselves, because naturally when you're growing as a woman, your eggs they don't become as strong as they used to be. It doesn't help in the process of fertilization, so they are storing the eggs. It will take some money to do that. It will take us years in Africa and in Ghana to achieve that, so that you can give birth later, either yourself or through a surrogate. You still have your children there.
It's your body, is your choice.
Yeah, but it's also because they live longer, because of the proper health systems they have, and then the earnings. You know, Usika, you look younger. You see how you look, even though you're old. How old are you now?
All right, we have to go. We'll bring you some sports. It's a back-to-back for Liverpool in the semis in the Champions League.
What do you say about Liverpool?
And then today, Uncle White is with us today. Have you watched Dora Y? Well, I have. We'll have a conversation on that, and we're also talking stress. How do you have a stress-free Easter? Yeah. We're all stressed, aren't we? So we'll do with some tips, right? Stay with us. We'll bring you a lot more here on the AM show.
It should be Dora, why?